And it goes a little something like.
Hello everyone, welcome in. How are you guys doing today? We are playing Edith Finch on the stream today. I thought I'd kind of change it up since we've been playing Valorant a lot. But yeah, so today we're just going to play What Remains of Edith Finch. I don't know too much about this game. I know it is a short game. I think it's about 2 to 3 hours. Alrighty guys, let's jump right in. I am playing on the PlayStation Plus app. Yeah, hopefully it goes okay, but it's basically kind of streaming the game, so hopefully there's no lag or anything. I am playing with my new GPU. I just got a 4070 as well, so I'm hoping that we don't have any lags out or, you know, the technical problems we were having a few streams ago. So hopefully everything goes well.
A lot of this isn't going to make sense to you, and I'm sorry about that. I'm just going to start at the beginning, with the house.
I don't know, guys. I don't know what happened. That was so strange. Can we run? Okay, we can zoom in.
Until I was 11, but I wasn't allowed inside half the rooms. Inside the mailbox were bills from 7 years ago, marked urgent, open immediately.
Okay, I kind of...
I've been back since my brother Lewis's funeral.
I kind of think the controls are already weird as hell.
My mother left me a key, but didn't tell me what it unlocked. Maybe she thought I'd know. Or she thought that the mystery would be enough to bring me back.
But I do kind of like the style direction. I think the style of the game's pretty cool. I do think this is like an older game as well, so I think it's okay for being an older game. It might not be the most like optimized.
This way in a long time, but I saw a few hoof prints.
Also, the camera sensitivity is kind of crazy. I try to make you guys not sick. Actually, let me see if there's a setting. No, there doesn't seem to be a setting. Okay. Yeah, I'll try not to move as much.
The truth is, even after I inherited the house, I never thought I'd come back to it. But now I had questions about my family that only the house knew the answers to. The house was exactly like I remembered it, the way I'd been dreaming about it.
Well, this is a pretty cool house. Could you imagine like somebody just like building upon building? I think that's pretty cool.
As a child, the house made me uncomfortable in a way I couldn't put into words. Now, as a 17-year-old, I knew exactly what those words were. I was afraid of the house.
I wonder why. Okay, so she's 17, so she's not too old. Also, the interact button is right trigger for some reason.
I hoped the key might unlock the front door. It didn't.
All right, you know what we're doing? We're breaking and entering. Well, I guess it's our house, so you can't really break and enter your house.
Crawling through the doggy door used to be a lot easier when I was 11. The power had been turned off the night we left. For the first time in years, I felt like I was home. But instead of a family, there were just memories of one.
It's like they left in a hurry. Like they just left all their shit here. Like this house has so many things in it.
Like how after Lewis started working at the cannery, we all got sick of eating salmon. Except our cat, Molly. Or how only one restaurant would deliver to our house, so we had Chinese a lot.
That kind of reminds me of how I kind of grew up. I kind of grew up in a rural area in Texas, and there was only one or two places that delivered to where I lived. And yeah, I think it wasn't Chinese, it was like pizza and...
The table was still a wreck from the night we left. It was like a bomb had gone off, killing everyone but sparing the furniture.
Yeah, I think it was pizza and something else. I don't really remember. It might have been Chinese, but I don't think so.
My mom was the only one of us who could imagine Great-Grandma Edie living in a nursing home.
So I'm picking up vibes of mystery, thriller, death, and multi-generational.
Nothing in the house looked abnormal. There was just too much of it, like a smile with too many teeth.
Okay, we'll walk right by this. We Gucci, guys. Oh, this is an interesting room. It's like locked and sealed, I guess. Interesting.
After Milton disappeared, Mom sealed up all the bedrooms. Then Edie retaliated and drilled peepholes.
Ah, okay. So that's why I guess all the rooms are like that then. I see. So are we looking for our room or?
I spent a lot of time playing in Great Uncle Walter's room. I think my mom sometimes regretted not sealing it up. Lewis told me there were secret passages, but I never believed him. Turns out, my mom was really good at keeping secrets. Now it was time to find out what my mom had been afraid of. Reading this, maybe it sounds like I had a plan. but I had no idea what was behind that door.
What? The controls are so weird. It kind of is like,
I had no idea where all this was gonna lead.
it kind of is like it was designed for the PC, and then they were like, oh, let's release it to a console and not change any of the control structure.
I grew up looking at Molly's room through the peephole. Being inside for the first time, I felt like I'd stepped behind a painting.
Yeah, it's a very girly room. Very pink.
I got the sense Edie had spent a lot of time here, before my mom sealed the doors.
Oh, wow. So she was only 10. Okay.
December 13th, 1947. Dear Diary, I'll be gone soon, but I wanted to tell somebody about what's gonna happen. It started when Mom sent me to bed without dinner. I woke up and I was starving, so I looked around for something to eat.
Oh, I just noticed the perspective changed. Like we're tiny now. We're like a little kid.
I kept eating and eating.
Oh no, don't eat that. No. I don't want to eat that.
I ate a lot of things that night.
Oh no. I don't want to eat these.
I thought about eating Christopher, but I held back.
Oh, thank God. I low-key thought she was going to eat the fish. I was like, no.
The gerbil food was dry, but I didn't mind it. My Halloween candy was all gone. Then I heard chirping outside my window. It was a barn swallow going back to her nest. I reached out for her. And suddenly, I was a cat.
Huh? Oh God. Can we jump or? Oh, we can.
I tried to be quiet, but the bird was really scared.
Oh no, not there? Not on the gutter? Huh? Where do we jump? Do we jump up? There we go.
Mom and Dad didn't even look at me.
Are we actually a cat? Like, are we like some kind of like shapeshifter, or are we just like having a dream or something?
I jumped and I almost got her.
Where'd she go?
I could tell she was getting really tired. Now I was up in the big tree. I promised Dad I wouldn't climb it anymore. All I cared about was eating that mama bird. I gobbled her up. And suddenly, I was an owl. First, all I heard was the wind. Then I heard little teeth nibbling in the grass.
Oh wow, we're able to like control. Oh, this is so cool.
Rabbits.
Where? Oh, I see. We're trying to grab one.
I imagined his face looking up and seeing mine through my talons. I swallowed him up, and I didn't chew one bit. Then I flew off to find something bigger. A mama rabbit. She was almost too big to carry. I started choking, but I couldn't stop eating.
Why?
And suddenly, I was a shark.
What the fuck? I have to like, I have to use like the triggers. Why are we a shark again? What is this game?
I rolled off a cliff and into the ocean. Now, I was hungrier than ever.
Whoa.
I wanted fat, juicy seals.
Oh, I didn't get it? I thought I got him.
Tasted really good.
Ugh, what is with this kid? She's giving like serial killer vibes.
I grabbed on tight. was so hungry, I jumped out of the water. When I opened my eyes, everything had changed.
Oh, are we an octopus or something? What do we need to do? Oh, okay.
Now I was a monster, and I smelled people everywhere. I was big, but I moved real quiet.
It doesn't shoot. This is so hard to control, man. Like, I don't know why this game is so hard to control. It's driving me crazy.
I wanted to stop, but also I didn't. Passenger, I was still hungry. And to cross the water, I smelled something new. Something I had to have, so I swam towards it.
Hi, welcome in. We are playing What Remains of Edith Finch. We're on chapter 1, so we're on Molly right now.
I slithered onto the sand, and the good smell went into an old pipe. I got closer and closer. All of my stomach started growling. And suddenly, I was me again. I held my breath for a long time, but I couldn't hear anything. I think it's waiting for me to fall asleep. But it's not going to wait much longer. It needs to feed, and we both know I will be delicious.
Huh? I'm so confused.
I'm not sure if I believed all of that, but I'm sure Edie would have.
Alrighty, so just a recap on Molly, since we just spent like 10 minutes in her sequence, and it feels like we're gonna probably capture a lot of these different, maybe all these people that are in blue is kind of what we're gonna play as. But I don't really understand, is she a shapeshifter? Is it something like that's like supernatural, or is she just like a playful 10-year-old kid? But she did say she was gonna, in the diary, like the first entry was that she was gonna die. And that was in 1947, and she died in 1947. So it's like, I don't know. I don't know what's going on. But this so far is very interesting. Alrighty, we back at it. Let's go.
This will be obvious later, but my mom never told me any of these stories. Edie would have, but Mom didn't like bringing up the past. Though, when we adopted a stray kitten, she was the one who named it Molly. I spent a lot of time in Great-Grandma Edie's room. We got along, and it was a good place to hide from my mom. When Edie told people Sven was killed by a dragon, she could also have said he was building a dragon-shaped slide that collapsed. She could have, but she didn't.
Alrighty, so I can already tell that this family is very, like, imaginative. Maybe imaginative's not the right word, but they seem to have a big imagination, if that makes sense. Built 1937, Sven. Okay. So he was like the builder of the house. Okay, that's cool.
Even in her 90s. Sometimes Edie seemed a lot younger than my mother. The only trace Grandpa Sam's first wife, Kay, left on the house was the pink bathroom. It was a
Ew.
pretty big trace.
Yeah, this bathroom's crazy looking. Yeah, let's go back in the room and see if we can find anything more that we missed.
Louis died a week before we left, but Edie had already started to memorialize him.
Louis, 1988 to 2010. Okay. So he was young too. Do they just like have a curse on the family or what?
Her room was like a museum.
Odin Finch. Oh, 1880 to 1937. Okay, so maybe he was the one that built the house.
For 500 years, the Finches have been famous throughout Norway for their fortune and misfortune. Odin Finch buries the latest victims of the family curse, his wife Ingeborg and their newborn son, Johan. On January 7th, 1937, he set sail with his family and his house, hoping to leave the curse behind. But 40-foot waves off the coast of Washington send the house and Odin to the bottom of the sea. Odin's daughter Edie, with husband Sven and baby Molly, step ashore in their new home.
Oh, wow. That's crazy.
Odin Finch is the first to be buried in the new family cemetery. His daughter Edie is already dreaming of a new Finch house. Whatever's wrong with this family, it goes back a long ways.
Yeah, no shit. You guys like sacrificed a baby or something? Some like black magic stuff. They have such bad luck. Oh, I thought that was the way to go, but I guess not.
Edie gave a big interview about a mole man living under the Finch house. My mom was furious.
I mean, we can't go over there. We can't use any of the doors because they're like...
Edie knit me a new pair of gloves every year, just in time to replace the old ones.
Because they're like shut, so... Do we go back out the window? Oh. Oh. It's another secret passage.
There's a secret in this bathroom. It's in the last place you would look. It isn't in the cupboard. It's hidden in this book. Sven gave Sam an old camera he'd refurbished. He never put it down.
Okay, so this is like a dark room, I guess?
From the paintings on the wall, it was clear my brother Milton had been here before me. I knew Grandpa Sam had a twin. And that he never talked about him.
Wait, no, I don't want to go. I don't want to go. I guess I found the secret passage. Alrighty. Let's, I guess let's learn about Sam and his brother is kind of what it seems like.
I guess my grandpa didn't like history any more than my mom did.
Calvin, 1950 to 1961. So, damn. Okay, another one that died like really young.
How I Want to Remember My Brother by Sam Finch. The thing I remember is that when he made up his mind, that was it. My brother said he'd die before he ate another mushroom, and he did. At Barbara's funeral, we swore we'd never be afraid again, and he wasn't. I think Calvin always wanted to fly. But that day, he finally made up his mind to do it. I told him going around was impossible. Maybe if I hadn't said that,
Calvin, I'm not gonna tell you again.
maybe if the wind hadn't picked up, then maybe he'd still be here. But I doubt it. I think he'd already made up his mind.
Why would you make us swing right off of a fucking cliff?
That's what I want to remember about my brother. The day he made up his mind to fly. And he did.
Calvin's story felt strangely familiar. When I was younger, I remember trying to do the exact same thing.
Interesting. Yeah, I don't... That one was a lot shorter than Molly's.
After the funeral, Edie roped off Calvin's half of the room. Mom said Grandpa Sam enlisted at 18 and never set foot in the room again.
Wow. Yeah, I still don't know why you would have a fucking...
The passages were a pretty tight fit.
the swing right on the cliff.
For smaller hands and bellies. Growing up, I always thought of Barbara as a child star. I never thought about how hard it must have been for her afterwards.
Barbara, 1944 to 1960. Okay, so I think we started, obviously I think we started from the like littlest that was killed or died or whatever, and then we're like slowly going up to the ones that are like older. So yeah, I think it's going in like age order.
Of all the stories people wrote about Barbara's death, I'm surprised Edie saved this one.
Old Jack here with another ghastly tale inspired by America's most unfortunate family. I'm calling it The Surprise Ending of Barbara Finch. As a child star, Barbara was famous for her scream. Now at 16, she was all washed up. A has-been. But in a lucky break, she'd been asked to perform her signature scream at a local convention for monster movie fans. It was just the boost her career needed. Unfortunately, her scream hadn't aged well.
Getting better. I think you just need the right motivation.
Her biggest fan and current boyfriend, Rick, was about to demonstrate when...
Now that was a great scream.
It was Barbara's father, Sven. He'd slipped into a table saw and had to be rushed to the emergency room. So Barbara got stuck babysitting her youngest brother, Walter. Her convention comeback was cancelled.
Okay, I'm hearing frustration, but I'm not hearing terror. What if I tried...
A gang of hoodlums in Halloween masks have been terrorizing Orcas Island tonight. Police are urging residents to...
That came from the basement.
You're right! Also, I loved your delivery on that. Why is your basement door locked?
Because my dad likes making puzzles and secret passages. There's a key hidden in the music box. The secret is to keep winding and winding until finally the key pops out.
Thanks, babe. I'll be back in a sec.
20 minutes later, Rick hadn't returned. So Barbara went to look for him, right on cue. She reached for the music box.
Okay. I was like pressing all buttons, guys, I swear. Ah, that's why. The controller disconnected.
And as she wound the key, she listened for Rick, but the house was silent. She found Rick's crutch and imagined the worst.
The gang's leader is the infamous Hookman killer, Dr. Carl Hamill, who impaled and then ate his family 10 years ago tonight.
The old fridge rattled and grew still.
Oh dear!
Oh!
Rick?
Barb, relax. I was just trying to scare you to help you find your scream.
Well, I'm not scared, Rick. I'm furious.
Then act furious. All I'm getting from you now is that you're hurt and confused and you're...
She threw him out, but she kept a little something to remember him by.
Barb, have you seen my other crutch?
And she was still holding it when she fell asleep watching the late picture show. Hours later...
Barbara! Walter, what's going on up there? Ah! Okay, I'm coming up, but if this is a trick, you're dead, Walter.
Oh god, I'm scared. Is this his room? Walter's? No? Where's Walter? Oh, here it is.
Walter, are you there?
Walter had vanished, but his bedside radio was still on.
Orcas Island police describe the man as 6 feet tall, with a steel hook for a hand. Residents are urged to lock all doors and windows and notify the police of any suspicious activity.
Barbara turned, saw the Hookman, and was speechless. He was quite smashing.
Oh my god, how scary! What the fuck?
And he really was. He couldn't get enough of Barbara.
Okay, Barbara, There's gotta be another way out of here.
Through the secret passage. Go, Barbara, go.
That night, she played her part beautifully. Molly's door hadn't been opened in years. The hinges groaned. He wasn't moving, but she sensed the story might not be over yet.
He's gonna be gone when we go downstairs, isn't he?
The hookman had vanished. She listened for his breathing, but all she heard was... At the door, she heard whispering. It was coming from inside the house.
Oh dear.
The monsters had come to surprise her.
What the hell?
For Barbara, it was a dream come true. Then she saw what kind of monsters they were, and she realized what was about to happen. She was going to be famous. Final breath, Barbara Finch gave the performance of her life. I wasn't there myself, but I hear Barbara was magnificent. Poor girl. She had a taste for stardom. But unfortunately, so did her fans. Of course, the police blamed it all on poor Rick, who disappeared the same night. And little Walter? Hiding under his bed the whole time. He took it all pretty hard, but that's another story. As for Barbara, tucked inside the music box is all they ever found of her. Her ear.
Oh my god.
Now that's what I call a real eerie tale.
Edie told me all Barbara wanted was to be remembered, as absurd as that comic was. Maybe what Edie saw was a happy ending.
That's awful. I feel so bad for Barbara. Like, so far she's had like the worst death. What the fuck? Yeah, her story was
I guess now I know why
so
Mom didn't like
sad.
me playing with the music box. Whenever people ask me about my family, the first thing they always want to know about is Barbara. Mom must have locked the third floor stairs on the night we left.
All right, we'll go down to the basement.
Edie's father, Odin, built the original house.
Because I think the key was
Funny.
in the music
All
box.
those times I played with the music box and never found the basement key. Mom said the basement was off limits, unless I wanted another tetanus shot. I saw Edie sneak down to the basement once, carrying packages. I thought maybe she was hiding presents. It turned out she was hiding a lot more than that. I remember asking Mom once about where Walter had gone. She said after Barbara died, he got as far away as he could. If there's a pattern in all these stories, I think it's that none of us has gotten very far.
I feel like they have a lot of secrets and a lot of lies. Like, if anything, they all share that thread. All right, he lived a pretty long life.
Goodbye, everyone. I can't believe I've been down here for 30 years. On that first day, after the shaking started, I didn't think I'd survive a week. But after a few days, I settled into a routine. That's what kept me sane. Having a schedule, living for today. I always expected to be dead tomorrow. But if you wait long enough, you get used to anything.
Is the shaking like his anxiety?
Even a monster on the other side of the door starts to feel normal.
Because
Almost
of
friendly.
Yeah, because of what happened to his sister, Barbara.
And then one day, everything just stopped. Whatever that thing was, it was gone. Maybe it got tired of waiting. Or maybe I just got tired of being afraid. It's been a week now, the longest in 30 years. I'm done waiting. I have to leave while I still can. I know it's out there, somewhere. Whatever killed Barbara.
He has like a whole fucking underground shelter.
And Molly. And Calvin. Maybe this is all a mistake. But I need to stop living the same day, even if it kills me. Whatever's out there, I want you to know I'm ready for it. I'm going to appreciate all of it, especially the food. I don't mind if I only have a year left. Or a month. Or for a single week. I'd be happy with one new day. I can already imagine the sun on my face.
Walter died when I was 6. I can't believe my mom never told me he was down here.
Yeah, what the fuck? That's crazy that he was just living in the basement for 30 years, basically.
I'm sure my mom was trying to protect me.
Keep telling yourself that, man. Oh no, you can't go down? This game is so weird. It's like I press the button to go down.
Maybe she was afraid I'd end up like Walter.
And it's like, nah, you didn't press it. It's not the right button.
But if she never told me about an uncle under the house...
So then I like start to second guess that I even pressed the button. Like I'm like, oh man, I didn't press
I can
it.
only imagine what else she was hiding. I don't want to make the same mistakes she made. Trying to bury something that's still alive. Now that there's only one of us left, or maybe 2. I thought it was time I heard the stories for myself. And found out what happened to everyone else. But now I'm worried the stories themselves might be the problem. Maybe we believed so much in a family curse, we made it real.
Yeah, that could be a possibility that...
I don't know if I should even be writing this.
It's like when you start to think so much about a certain thing that it like becomes reality, basically. Like you will it into reality. Like they could have believed that they were just a cursed family and they were meant to die, and they did.
Maybe it'd be better if all this just died with me. But I thought you should know about your family. And the history you're a part of. Though to be honest, I feel as lost as you probably do right now. I think the people in these stories believed them, for what that's worth. And when you look at the house, that history of imagination and stubbornness and madness, any of it seems possible.
The game is struggling. Do we go there? No. Yeah.
I think we've been surrounded by death for so long, we've just gotten used to it. What kind of family finishes building a cemetery before starting the house? It's embarrassing for me to admit this, but the pet cemetery made me more uncomfortable than the human one. 3 of the gerbils were mine, and 2 had been my fault. Sven built the house, but it was Edie who designed the cemetery.
Aww. So we've got Molly who... Oh, interesting. So I wonder if Edie, like, knew about them in a certain way.
I'm sure Odin's monument had been Edie's idea. My mom was always trying to move on, but for Edie, the past never went away. She could see it poking out of the water at low tide. Edie said she dreamed about the old house every night. Edie's side was always easier for me to understand. But the older I get, the more I can see where my mom was coming from. Her dad had been pretty strict, but it wasn't enough to save her brothers. She was just trying to do better.
Oh, wow. Gregory died... Yeah, not even, like... a year old. Well, no, he was... Yeah, he was a year.
She lost 2 of her brothers, just like I did. I get why she tried so hard to protect us. There's so many things I wish I could ask my mom now. Part of me thinks this is what she wanted all along. For me to come back someday and find everything out for myself. But looking back on it now, if she told me there was going to be so much climbing, I never would have come when I was 22 weeks pregnant.
Oh?
I never met Grandpa Sam, but I think he and my mom had a lot in common. They were both pretty intense. Sam spent his life shooting photos, but Mom said he got nervous being in front of the camera. I guess we're all afraid of something.
Dawn, I promise, you'll never forget this weekend.
Yes, sir.
These memories are gonna last a lifetime.
Hmm? Am I gonna have to shoot anything?
It's a hunting trip, Dawn. Shooting is strongly encouraged. Not quite.
Shouldn't we be leaving?
Just want to get a shot of you, Dawn, then we can take off.
Am I supposed to, like, zoom in? Oh, there we go.
What?
Perfect.
It's gonna rain the whole weekend, isn't it? Please just take the damn picture.
Hey, language.
Did you want to get a picture of me or what?
Is she in the car or?
Come on already.
Where is she? Oh, here it is.
I will never forget this weekend, Dad.
That's the spirit. Okay, got it.
I'm gonna take some pictures, okay?
Just be careful. That camera's older than you are.
You're right, Dad. It's starting to clear up. Still freezing, though.
Definitely should not have drunk all that coffee.
Hold still while I take a picture of you.
Hey!
That's a keeper.
Okay, weird. I guess I just had to zoom out, guys. I don't
I'm
fucking
just
know.
saying, I'm not always gonna be here, Dawn. You'll need to remember this stuff if you want to survive.
I'll be fine, Dad.
You know who else thought he was gonna be fine?
Some guy who died.
Dawn, I'm being serious.
I know, Dad. You're always serious. Doesn't being out here make you want to chill out?
Well, to tell you the truth, I haven't been out here in 20 years. Dawn, don't you think you could find something more interesting to photograph? Last time I was with my brother Calvin. Man, that was a great trip. Your grandpa Sven taught us how to fish, how to build a fire. We found an old logging trail. With deer.
Dad!
Good eyes, Dawn. Before you take the shot, let me get a picture of you.
Dad,
Let me get behind you.
do I have to do this?
Dawn, you don't have to do anything. But if you want to survive, you'll need to be strong. Great shot, Dawn! I'm proud of you, Dawn. Always remember that, okay?
Dad, it's twitching. I think
That's
it's
totally
so-
normal, Dawn. Just focus on the camera. Try not to think about...
Dad!
Oh shit!
Of all these stories, that's the one I wish most that my mom had told me.
Damn. He just got yeeted off that cliff. I wasn't expecting that. I was like, oh, okay.
Instead of hiding from death, Sam seemed to go out of his way to meet it. After Sam died, my mom and Edie got really close. They'd both lost a lot.
Dear Kay, do you remember the way Gregory used to laugh when he thought he was alone? Like something funny was happening, but only he could see it.
Oh no. Don't tell me we're gonna play as a baby. Dude. I'm nervous. that's so sad. Yeah, that's so sad. What the hell? That's the saddest one so far.
I can't imagine my mom ever writing poetry, and yet...
A poem for Gus, who always said the wedding was a bad idea. Our father never hit us kids, at least not very hard, before the day my brother said with teenage disregard that he'd be dead before he'd see a wedding in our yard. My father made him come, of course, but Gus stood far apart, just flew his kite and bottled up the storm inside his heart. I tried to talk him out of it, but though he'd never met her, we don't need a stepmom were the words that
I now pronounce you husband and wife. You may kiss the bride.
When the time for photos came, Dad ordered him to come here. But Gus declined, and as a sign held up his middle finger. The wind picked up, and panicked geese appeared and quickly went. But all the humans did that day was go inside the tent. The rain came down in buckets then, but no one seemed afraid that nature might destroy the tent our dad had crudely made. The thunder sounded much too close and full of angry power. But all my father said to this was, "Make the music louder." I wish that I could truly say I thought about you on that day. Out there on the beach alone, just you, the wind, the sea, and foam. But I didn't. Until we found you.
Oh my gosh.
She never talked about him, but Mom told me once if I was a boy, they were going to name me Gus.
Wow. You know, a lot of these, like, deaths are really tragic. Like, damn, this family went through some stuff.
My mom moved up to the loft after her brothers died. At the time, it was as far away as she could get. She spent a summer building houses in Calcutta, where she met my dad, Sanjay. Religion was another thing my mom never talked about, but I think it helped her a lot after her dad died.
Hi, welcome in. We are playing What Remains of Edith Finch. If you're new to the stream, then welcome in. And if you're not, and you're just like stopping by, then thank you so much for stopping by. I do appreciate it. I will say I didn't turn on my PNG tuber, like PNG character thing, because I knew that the game had like moving text, so I didn't want my figure to get in the way. So that's why we're kind of doing like a faceless stream today. Was there a secret passage up top? Let's see. Go back up again. Maybe I missed it. Ah, here it is. The window.
My mom moved to India a week after graduation and got a job teaching English. Lewis was born a year later. When my dad died, I don't think Mom knew where else to go. I'm sure Edie was happy to have her back. The house had to get a little bigger, but Edie was used to that. And for a while, things were good. Almost normal. But it didn't last.
Okay, so they were like homeschooled. Is what it kind of seemed like. But I guess if her mom taught English, then that kind of makes sense that she would homeschool her.
The beginning of the end was Milton's 10th birthday, when Edie gave him a castle.
I would love this if this was like me. Heck yeah, I think this is so cool. Oh, this one doesn't have a day. So maybe he's not dead? Let's see.
Milton Finch in The Magic Paintbrush. I was 4 when Milton disappeared.
Wait, disappeared? So it's 1992 to 2003. What do you mean he disappeared? I don't understand. Where did he go? Was he kidnapped?
Mom spent months searching for my brother. Then she sealed the doors.
That's so strange.
Whatever Milton had found in the house, Mom didn't want it getting out. Mom definitely blamed Edie, but I think Lewis blamed himself. After he graduated, he just spent more and more time in his room until Mom got him a job at the cannery. Lewis's room smelled very, very familiar. That part of him lived on.
It's a very hippie room, if that makes sense. Wait, no, I didn't want to go back out. I was just looking around. I didn't want to go back out.
Lewis and I spent a lot of time playing games together, but he was surprisingly bad at them. He died a lot.
All right, so this is her brother then. So Edith has, or not Edith. What's her name? Yeah, Edith. Okay, yeah, she has two brothers. She has Milton and Lewis. So her brothers are dead too. Oh, interesting. Yeah.
Dear Mrs. Finch, as Lewis's psychiatrist, I can understand your desire for an explanation. As I see it, the trouble began in January, shortly after we convinced your son to seek treatment for substance abuse. Newly sober, I believe Lewis first noticed the monotony of his daily life. He kept working at the cannery, but he withdrew part of himself. In our sessions, I saw the same behavior. His mind began to wander. I asked him to describe it.
This is
started small.
This is testing my my hand coordination.
Imagining a labyrinth. He'd feel his way about. Then something moved. Bats. And toads.
Oh no, my fish! My fish! I literally cannot do both, guys. I think this is so funny.
Have not names. He knew it was all in his head. But he took it very seriously. I had hoped he'd found himself.
What the fuck?
But he found something more. I worried about him then. Daydreaming at the cannery. I spoke with his boss. but he said Lewis had become a model employee. Methodical, tireless, focused.
Really? So he wasn't depressed or
A whole
anything.
new Lewis. So I let him go on. I even encouraged him. It seemed very promising at first. He told me he'd made a new friend. On the edge of a city he named Lewis Topia. He built the city up slowly, brick by brick. Then he made musicians.
The dancing people. That's so
songs
cute.
for them to play. He talked about starting a band. And he was always humming something. Every day his imagination grew stronger. He no longer spoke at the cannery. But his chopping was as reliable as ever. Then one day it struck him that all the cheering crowds, even the stones under his feet, were all in his imagination. So he could do whatever he wished. He held an election for mayor. And he won. They begged him to stay, but his mind was already wandering. It became a game for him.
Oh, dude.
He'd conquer a city, then immediately push on.
This takes so much coordination.
St. Louis. He started drifting away from our reality. Minneapolis, until one day he forgot to go home from the cannery.
Minneapolis.
Even as his mother pleaded with him, part of Lewis kept sailing on. In Lewisburg, he heard rumors of a handsome queen.
It's interesting that this game had the option. You could kind of choose.
The queen was on her own quest for
sinister serpents.
Sinister serpents. He followed the sound of her.
Ah, I wanna harp.
Silver harp. His chase led him to a golden palace east of the sun and west of the moon. Even then, his logic remained sound.
It's the fucking perspective change that gets me.
He knew the world was all in his imagination.
Too much fish. Also, you no longer can see the, like, where he's chopping it. Like, he's so far in his brain that he no longer sees, I guess, his surroundings is kind of what I'm assuming here.
But he was so proud of having created it. In his own eyes, he'd become something greater than a king. For someone who'd never known success in the real world, I think it was overwhelming. And then it struck him that the real Lewis was not the one chopping salmon, but the one climbing the steps of a golden palace. My imagination is as real as my body, he told me. It was hard to argue with him.
Do I not go there?
He began to forget the world we know. I think it pained him to remember Lewis, the cannery worker. He began to despise the man with a royal contempt. I still thought I could save him. Even after he said he was being crowned king over all the lands of wonder. The palace would be packed with his companions.
Dude, I would sue this therapist. Like, she's god-awful. He had some real mental problems. And she just kind of let him, like, I'm assuming he committed suicide.
Wise Calico and insisted on advising him. His queen waited, holding his crown. There was only one thing left to do. Bend down his head.
Oh no, that's a guillotine.
And the rest I think you know. Mrs. Finch, your son was a kind man who will be missed by all of us who knew him.
My brother was really cool. I wish you could have met him.
Interesting. So I definitely think he killed himself. Huh. Yeah, he had some mental health issues that therapist failed to
He was so
see, I
proud of
guess.
being Indian. I think for him, it was a way to be something other than just a Finch. On the way back from Lewis's funeral, my mom told me to start packing. She waited until the day before we left to tell Edie. I'm not sure if she wanted to make it easier or harder. I wish we'd stayed. But I understand why we left. My mom ended up leaving everything behind. What happened that night had been coming for a long time. Maybe it should have come sooner. But it had to end one way or another. All that's left now is to tell you about that last night. That whole last day, Edie just watched us pack and didn't say a word. Until supper, when she raised her glass and said,
"To our final night together, and all our final nights apart."
Grandma, you know what I said about alcohol. Some of your medications are very
Edith,
specific.
I left a present for you in the hallway. Why don't you go open it? The grown-ups have to argue now.
I'm sorry, you're right. We're all leaving tomorrow. Let's just enjoy our last...
I'm not leaving.
Edith, you're excused.
Oh? Which makes sense. I mean, why would she want to leave her home that she basically built? In my opinion.
the power had been shut off that morning, but Edie always had plenty of candles. When my mom sealed the library, I don't think she knew about the other entrance, or that Edie had a key to it.
That thing you're afraid of isn't going to end when you leave the house. Edith has a right to know these stories.
My children are dead because of your stories. I think it's best if Edith and I leave tonight. We'll have the nursing home send a van for you in the morning. Okay?
Okay, that's what I definitely don't understand. Like, I understand that she wants to leave with Edith. Sure, I mean, she's had so much trauma, it makes sense, she's had enough. But in my opinion, if your grandma is like good enough to stay by herself, like she seems mentally good, I don't see why she wouldn't leave her in the house. Like, I'm not a big fan of putting somebody in older folks like in homes. I don't really believe in them. I think the family should take care of you when you get older, you know? Maybe I'm a little traditional on that. But the fact that she has been there all her life and you're gonna take her dying breath, like, she wants to die in the house. She wants to be with Sven, she wants to be with her children, she wants to be with her grandchildren. Like, it just doesn't make sense to me on the mother's reasoning to take her. And if she's physically not able to, you know, if she's physically not able to take care of herself, you can always hire like an at-home caregiver. Like, it's more like mentally is she there, and it seems like she is. So,
Dear Edith, there's so many stories I wish I could tell you.
I don't know. I just don't believe in it, I guess.
This is about what happened on the night you were born. That night, the tide went way, way out. It was the first and last time I ever saw the old house aground. There'd been an earthquake out in the middle of the ocean. They called it the lowest tide in 1,000 years. God, it smelled awful. You know, I've seen that house every day of my life. But I never thought I'd go back to it. When the fog rolled in, I lost my way. I got turned around. I started seeing things. Things I'd forgotten had ever existed. But when I saw them, they felt like old friends. That night, a lot of things came back to me. Or maybe I came back to them. Things I can't explain, but that I need you to try and...
Edith, what are you doing in here?
It's mine.
Edith!
Mom, you're gonna rip it! Let go! I kicked and screamed, but Mom dragged me to the car. I never saw Great-Grandma Edie again.
Oh my gosh. That's so sad.
Next morning, the van came to pick her up, but she was already gone. After that, we moved around a lot. We both tried to make the best of it. A few years went by. My mom didn't like to talk about it, but she started getting sick a lot. The rest happened pretty quickly. She got better for a while, and then she didn't. And then I was alone. The last Finch left alive. Until I found out about you. I'm still not sure what to tell you about all this. If we lived forever, maybe we'd have time to understand things. But as it is, I think the best we can do is try to open our eyes. And appreciate how strange and brief all of this is. This journal was supposed to be for you. But now I hope you'll never see it. I just want to meet you and tell you all these stories myself. But I guess if you're reading this now, things didn't work out that way. This is where your story begins. I'm sorry I won't be there to see it. It's a lot to ask, but I don't want you to be sad that I'm gone. I want you to be amazed that any of us ever had a chance to be here at all. Good luck.
Wow. I mean, I'm assuming she died at birth, I guess, when she was, or not at birth, but when she was giving birth. Wow, that's it. This was a really short game. Yeah, the game doesn't have much gameplay. I mean, it is, as people say, like a walking simulator, but it's got a good story. You know, and you see all these family members that she knows nothing about, and basically she's kind of telling her own kid, you know, I learned all this. I found out these stories. And it is very sad because some of them were, you know, one of them was murdered, one of them drowned as a baby. Like, they just had a really sad family. But overall, I think the game was really good. It is, I think back then, maybe 2 hours was great. I mean, it is an older game. But it is a short game. Like, a 2-hour game is nowadays is like a demo, in my opinion. I've played demos that are that are longer than this game, but I definitely think that this may have been the first game the studio ever came out with. So that might be kind of why it was so short. It was kind of like their debut, maybe. I could be totally wrong. I haven't looked too much into the developers. But I love the atmosphere. I loved the character designs. I love that each person had a unique story to them and a unique style to them, like art style. I really liked, like, Barbara. Hers was the comic art, and that story I think may be my favorite. It's one of the most heartbreaking ones, in my opinion, along with the baby. But I think I really liked Barbara's story. My least favorite was actually Molly's, the very first one. Yeah, and like Walter's was really good too, where he's like been in the basement for 30 years and like basically lived down there because he was just traumatized of what happened to his sister and how he couldn't help her. No, I definitely loved that aspect of it. The character design, the character storytelling, like that's what this game is about. It's about the story, in my opinion, not the gameplay. The stories that the characters are based around. That, you know, the whole fact is that Edith is trying to say to her own kid that, you know, this is the story of my family, the Finches. Yeah, so I definitely think I think overall the game is good. There are some cons. One of them is it could just be because I'm playing on the PlayStation, but the fact that the triggers were like the basically like the E or the interact button was a big downfall, in my opinion. So that would be a big con. I also, you know, I didn't like some stories, so like Molly's, Calvin's. There were some stories that I didn't think added anything. Like Milton's. I'm like, okay, so he just disappeared. Like, what, you know, what happened to him? You kind of want to learn more to some stories. But overall, I think it was a great game. I'm really happy I played it. Yeah, so sorry guys, I just got kind of lost in thought. I always do when I do a game. I always do like an outro, kind of my thoughts on the game, and this was a solid one. I agree why it's played so many times by people. I think it's a really solid game. I'm interested to look more into the developers and see what else they did, because they did a rockin' job on this. And to have a team, I mean, we saw the team picture there, to have a team that was, I don't know, maybe 20 people to make this game, that's crazy. No, they did a great job. But I do appreciate you guys for watching and tuning in. I am playing some more Tekken here pretty soon, so look out for those videos. If you want to be notified of when a video is uploaded, be sure to sub. Yeah, and you'll be notified of it. But yeah, I should be playing all of the Tekken character story arcs. And then I'm gonna be probably playing a pretty big game here. I do want to finish Life is Strange out if you're interested, you know, in seeing that be played through, but that game, I just lose interest in it a lot, so I don't know if I'm going to continue playing it on the YouTube channel, but we will have to see. But most likely the next game I play is going to be a pretty big series, so multiple parts, you know, trying to be consistent there for sure. So if you're interested in that, then, you know, be sure to sub, and those videos come out every Wednesday at 3 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. So if you're, you know, ever interested in that, be sure to tune in. But yeah, thank you guys so much for watching and joining. As always, I'll leave a link in the description below as well. If you're interested in kind of playing the game, I would highly recommend it. This game was great. So be sure to look in the description for that. And that's it for me, guys. Thank you so much. I'll catch you guys next time.
You are a summer and after